The winning blueprint presents.
Draft Zone.
Welcome to the Draft Zone. I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me. This is the NFL Draft Game here with the Tennessee Titans. And what the NFL Draft Game really is a intensive and in-depth look at the first round of the National Football League's draft. And what it does is it focuses in on one particular pick and a team. In this case, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans and the number 10 pick overall in the draft. Now, what we'll do is we'll look at history for the Tennessee Titans in the draft for the last 13 seasons, as well as the number 10 pick over the last 13 seasons. So from 2000 to 2012, we'll look at all the picks made by the Titans in the first round and all of the number 10 picks in the first round over that same span. Grade them out using our baseball scale: single, double, triple, home run, and the occasional strikeout. Average them up together, and it gives you an aggregate score as to project how the Titans might do in the 2013 draft at the number 10 selection. Now, of course, the past cannot predict the future, but it always is fun to look back, and you can learn from your mistakes. And who knows? The past and history is there for a reason. If we average these numbers out, history says that you're supposed to do specific things at certain picks. We'll see if the Tennessee Titans can buck that trend and come out better than some of the other teams before them. So let's look at the number 10 pick first. And to do that, we'll be using this handy dandy spreadsheet that I put together. On this spreadsheet is every single first round draft pick from 2000 to 2012. And I'll be using that to analyze the number 10 pick, which is what the Tennessee Titans hold in this draft. And you look at 2000, and the number 10 pick is Travis Taylor. Travis Taylor is a receiver, or was, that was drafted by the Baltimore Ravens out of the University of Florida. And he didn't have a successful career at all. And you look at Travis Taylor, and he hung around for a while. That's the only reason this isn't a strikeout, because his career never really amounted to much, but he hung around for a good 7 or 8 seasons. And so for that alone, Travis Taylor gets a single, but not by much. You look at 2001, the 10th overall selection, Jamal Reynolds, defensive end drafted by the Green Bay Packers. This is an absolute strikeout. You last 2 or 3 seasons in the league, you do nothing. It's a strikeout for Jamal Reynolds and the Green Bay Packers in 2001. Look at 2002, Levi Jones, tackle drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. He had a good stretch of ball for about a good 5-year period. He was solid, but not enough longevity there, not enough consistency for Levi Jones. Hence, Levi Jones is a single. You look at 2003, the 10th pick goes to the Baltimore Ravens, who invest that pick in Terrell Suggs, the defensive end out of Arizona State University. What a pick this was. Terrell Suggs has been a force out on the edges at defensive end / outside linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. He's been very consistent over his career. You look at the numbers, they tell the story. Terrell Suggs, not quite a home run, but Terrell Suggs is definitely a bona fide triple in this league. What a pick by the Baltimore Ravens at 10 in 2003. You look at the 2004 10th selection, Donta Robinson, corner, selected out of South Carolina by the Houston Texans. Solid corner. He's been a very solid corner in his career. Have really no complaints about his career up until this point. He hasn't been extraordinary, but he's been solid. And when you're solid, you're a double. So you move on to 2005. Mike Williams, receiver out of USC, drafted by the Detroit Lions. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? It's a strikeout. I mean, he had one good season. It wasn't even with the Lions. It was with the Seattle Seahawks. And it still wasn't good enough to stop him from having a strikeout. I'll say this. In his defense, he went up swinging. He foul-tipped the first pitch. He worked the count a little bit, got it to 2-2. And he was looking fastball. He got a breaking ball, knees buckled. It's a strikeout for Mike Williams in 2005. You look at 2006. Matt Leinart. Garbage. Straight garbage. Mr. Hollywood himself, Matt Leinart, quarterback out of USC, drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals gave him the keys to the car. He wrecked it. They took the keys back. They gave him to Kurt Warner. They said, hey, we're going to give you some instructions on how to drive. They gave him some driving lessons. They gave him back the keys. And the first tree that he saw, he ran into it again, wrecked the car. Matt Leinart is an absolute strikeout in this league. You look at 2007, 10th overall selection, Amobi Okoye, defensive tackle out of Louisville. I remember when he was drafted, youngest defensive player ever drafted in the National Football League. This guy was like 18 years old, maybe 19 when he got into the National Football League. Of course, coming from overseas and then playing football. Graduated early from Louisville. I just thought, man, this guy has it going for himself. He gets to the league, drafted by the Houston Texans, and it just never really worked out for Amobi Okoye. It's been okay at times, nothing earth-shattering. It's a single for Amobi Okoye, but I just always thought there was going to be more for him. But it's a single. You look at 2008, Gerard Mayo, linebacker out of Tennessee, drafted by the New England Patriots. He's been really solid for the New England Patriots. You look at the numbers, he's had very good consistency throughout his career. You look at the production, it's there. You look at the durability, it's there. Everything you're looking for in a solid middle linebacker is there for Gerard Mayo. Gerard Mayo is a double in this league. You look at 2009, the 10th overall selection is the San Francisco 49ers to spin, and they pick Michael Crabtree, receiver out of Texas Tech. His career started really slow. In his defense, really not a big-time quarterback out there getting him the football, but nonetheless, he progressed as the seasons wore on, finally culminating in his best season of his career to date. In 2012, they go to the Super Bowl. He's a big reason why. Michael Crabtree playing some really good football now. His first 1,000-yard season of his career. Looks like he's getting better. Right now, he's a solid double, but I think Michael Crabtree could ascend to a triple here in the next few years because he's playing some really good football right now. You look at 2010. 10th overall selection goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who spend it on Tyson Alu, defensive tackle out of Cal. He was really good for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2012, in 2011. He's a solid defender. I like what he is doing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars like what he's doing for them. When you spend a top 10 pick on a defensive player, on a player period, you expect that player to pay dividends out to you. I think Tyson Alualu is doing that currently for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Tyson Alualu right now is a double. He led the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2012 season in sacks, which isn't a good thing. You don't want your defensive tackle leading you in sacks, but that goes to show you that he's getting it done. Solid pick by the Jaguars at 10 in 2010. Tyson Alualu is a double right now. You look at 2011. 10th overall selection goes to the Jaguars once again. This time, not so lucky. Blaine Gabbert. Ouch. Yikes. Bonkers. Look, Blaine Gabbert probably isn't going to amount to much as a starting quarterback in this league. I say probably because I don't know. Jury's still out on him. I've all but given up on him already. I don't feel like he has it. Every quarterback that's going to be successful in the National Football League needs it. Now, what is it? I don't know. Stop asking. I don't know what it is. Stop asking. But I know when I see it, and I know when someone doesn't have it. And Blaine Gabbert doesn't have it. So Blaine Gabbert right now is a single, but barely. Give him another year. Come back and talk to me. I'm pretty sure I'll be telling you that Blaine Gabbert is a strikeout. But right now, he's a single. You look at 2012, and it's the Buffalo Bills selecting Stephon Gilmore. And for all intents and purposes, I feel like this was a really good pick. You got a long 6'1 corner, comes in, shores up one side of your defense, fortifies one cornerback position. The Bills are going young at corner. They have Aaron Williams on the other side. They got now Stephon Gilmore on the other. It just looks really good. It's really young. It's really vibrant, really big. Aaron Williams is a big corner. And so I like what the Bills are doing. I like Stephon Gilmore. He had his rough patches, but it was his rookie season. You know, baptism by fire. What do you expect? I thought he played really well, handled himself in some tough situations. I like Stephon Gilmore. I think the future is bright. Hence, Stephon Gilmore is a double. And that is the history of the number 10 pick over the last 13 seasons. You average all of those scores up, and it comes out to be a single. A dud. So it doesn't look good at the 10 spot for the Tennessee Titans. Let's see how the Titans do with their draft picks over the last 13 years and see if they can raise this average up a bit, or will they be doomed to maybe just picking a single here at 10. We'll see. But let's talk about the Titans and what they've been able to do over the last 13 years in the first round in the draft. So you start with 2000 and Keith Bulluck, linebacker out of Syracuse. Wow, I was a big Keith Bulluck fan. I really enjoyed watching Keith Bulluck play. I thought he was a really instinctive and smart linebacker. Always had a nose for the football. Used to pick a lot of passes off. You always remember the glove, the bright orange, reddish gloves that he always used to wear. Was a big Keith Bulluck fan. I thought he was a really good linebacker in this league. I thought he had a really productive career. Keith Bulluck, a triple in this league. You look at 2001, no first round selection for the Tennessee Titans. That was traded away to the St. Louis Rams. You look at 2002, Albert Haynesworth, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. What an enigma he was. He never played consistently strong football. His best seasons were contract seasons. When he knew the money was on the line, you got the best out of Albert Haynesworth. That was always the knock on him. When he's motivated, he's one of the best. When he's not, he is one of the most laziest players you'll ever see on a football field. And the problem with that is he's not self-motivated. Something has to motivate this man to get him to play at the level he's supposed to. And that's not the mark of a good player. That's not a mark of a great player. That's the mark of an okay player. He's more known for his on-the-field exploits and his off-the-field shenanigans. I'm talking about the Andre Garrard situation where he stepped on his face or attempted to, ripped his helmet off and almost blinded the guy. And we're talking about the off the field things as well. And so his career is marred by inconsistencies and what if. What if this guy would have played to his full potential? Albert Haynesworth is a single for the Tennessee Titans in 2002. You look at 2003. Andre Woolfolk, corner out of Oklahoma. When you drafted him, it looked like a good idea. It sounded like a good idea, but it wasn't a good idea. This guy came in and did absolutely nothing in the National Football League. He's a strikeout because it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out for Andre Woolfolk. It's a strikeout, folks. You look at 2004. No first round pick here. Titans traded it away. You look at 2005. Adam Pac-Man Jones. Again, much like Albert Haynesworth, here's a guy that has immense talent. And if he could block out the off-the-field distractions, this guy could be a world beater at the cornerback position. Not only do you get a very athletic corner who's not afraid to take chances and make plays, very fearless, not afraid to tackle, stick his nose in there, and help in run support, but also you get value added in the returns game. This guy was a demon on punt returns. I mean, this guy was so dynamic for the Titans early on in his career. Heck, he's even still doing it for the Cincinnati Bengals as we speak, but the inconsistencies, the suspensions, the very frustrating career of Adam Pac-Man Jones only yields him a single to this point. And he's starting to turn his life around, his career around, but what it could have been, much like Albert Haynesworth, what it could have been, but it's not. It's a single for Adam Jones. You look at 2006, Vince Young. He burst onto the NFL landscape coming off of that Rose Bowl victory. Can your stock get any bigger than it was when he came into the league? Then you get the rookie season. Everyone remembers the touchdown in overtime versus the Texans. He was going home to Texas. The Texans passed on him in the draft. He felt slighted. It was a sort of vindication for Vince Young. He scores the touchdown in overtime. They win the game. The Titans go 8-8 in that season. Looks like Vince Young is on to something. And yeah, the Titans may have made the playoffs with him once. I'm not sure. I can't recollect if they did or not. But Vince Young, to me, lacked the maturity that was necessary for a NFL starting quarterback. For the face of your franchise. You have to be a mature individual. And sometimes I felt like he went back and reverted to childish-like behavior as the quarterback of your team. You have to be able to take criticism. You have to be able to stand up and say, yeah, that was my fault. Even sometimes when it's not. You got to be able to shoulder the blame. And I think Vince Young was someone that wanted to deflect the blame more so than shoulder it and take it on. And some of the things you just can't do as the face of a franchise, he did it anyway. Hence, Vince Young is a single as well. You look at 2007, Michael Griffin, safety out of Texas. This is one of the better picks for the Titans over the last 5 to 6 seasons. Really good value here. And some people have gripes about Michael Griffin and his play in the secondary for the Titans. Hey, look, there are several teams around the league that would love to take him off your hands if you don't like what Michael Griffin is doing for you. I think this is a really good safety. Yeah, sometimes he takes some chances, takes wrong steps, gets beat on plays, but he makes his fair share of plays as well. I love Michael Griffin. I love his game. I think he's a very physical safety. He's a ball-hawking safety as well, can make plays on the football. I like Michael Griffin. I think he's been a very good player for the Tennessee Titans since they drafted him. Michael Griffin is a triple in my estimation. You look at 2008, and the Titans just absolutely knocked it out of the park. 2008, Chris Johnson. CJ2K. That's a home run, folks. And he burst onto the scene, never having a season less than 1,000 yards in his career. That's saying something. Normally, backs don't come into the league and right away get 1,000 yards. That first season might be 857 yards. And then they start to rev it up the next season. Some guys come in and they just take off running, and that's exactly what Chris Johnson did. He's part of that rarefied air, that 2,000-yard back club. He wants to go back there again. I don't know if that's very feasible or not, but I tell you what, Chris Johnson, even on an off year, he still gets 1,000 yards rushing. Never had less than 4 yards a carry in his career. It's an absolute no-doubter for the Tennessee Titans in 2008 with Chris Johnson. It's a home run. You look at 2009. Kenny Britt. You know what I call Kenny Britt? I call him a come-on player. You know why I call him a come-on player? I have several guys that I call a come-on player. Kenny Britt is one of them. Because if he would just do the right thing and stay healthy, Kenny Britt would be an elite receiver in his league. Randy Moss said it himself. Randy Moss said, Kenny Britt, if he could just keep his head screwed on tight, would be an elite receiver in this league. And I agree with Randy Moss wholeheartedly. Kenny Britt has everything you look for in a top-flight #1 NFL receiver. He can jump. He's big. He's 6'3". He's very deceptively quick and fast. And so if you sleep on him, he'll run right by you. He's got big hands. He can snatch the football out of the air. But every time you look up, you say, come on, Kenny. He's getting in trouble off the field. Every time he's starting to play well on the field, he gets hurt. Come on, Kenny. And that's why he's a come-on player, because if he could just get it right, Kenny Britt would be elite. But right now, at this point of his career, he can't. He should be a double, possibly a triple, but instead, he's just a single. And that's a shame because he has home run talent. But right now, Kenny Britt is a single in 2009 for the Tennessee Titans. You look at 2010, Derek Morgan, defensive end out of Georgia Tech. And the Titans were expecting a lot more out of Derek Morgan. He tears the ACL. And look, I don't know if he was ever going to be very productive in this league or not. But the ACL injury certainly didn't help. Now, 6.5 sacks isn't anything to scoff at. You're looking for this guy to really wreak havoc on the opposing QB. Make offensive coordinators stay up late at night. Derek Morgan does none of that. In fact, he's been a big disappointment for Tennessee Titans fans. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Tennessee Titans look to address the defensive end position in this draft, just because of the lack of production that they've gotten out of Derek Morgan. And again, 6.5 sacks isn't terrible, but when I draft you in the first round, I don't expect 6.5 sacks. I expect double-digit sacks, especially if you've been in the league longer than 3 seasons. Derek Morgan going into his 4th campaign. So you feel like time is running out for Derek Morgan in Tennessee. We'll see. But right now, he is a single in Tennessee. You look at 2011. Jake Locker, quarterback, Washington. This is your future. You mortgage your future on Jake Locker. Your coach is tied to Jake Locker right now. His administration is tied to Jake Locker. So if Jake Locker can't get it done in this upcoming season in 2013, Mike Munchak will be fired because of it. And that's what a franchise quarterback can do for you. He can either save your job or he can get you fired. And in this case, if Jake Locker doesn't put the pieces of the puzzle together in 2013, he will get Mike Munchak fired. So we will see what Jake Locker does. The inconsistencies and the inability to stay healthy right now are the big underlying issues with Jake Locker. If he can stay healthy, this guy could be a very good quarterback in this league. If he could be more consistent, especially from the pocket, this guy can be a very good quarterback in this league. But right now, he can't, so he won't, and thus, he's a single. You look at 2012. First round selection, Kendall Wright. Last year, out of Baylor, receiver. Solid pick. Only 600 yards receiving, 65 catches. But look, I think wide receiver is one of the hardest positions to come in and make an impact immediately in the National Football League. It's just a tough position to come in and make a dent. So 65 catches or so for 600 and some odd yards, that's a productive season for a rookie. And I thought that the Titans didn't utilize him in the capacity that he needs to be. This was a guy that stretched the field at Baylor, was running a lot of vertical routes. I thought the Titans really bottled him up. They put him in a box and had him running a lot of shorter routes, a lot of outs, a lot of stops, a lot of hitches, a lot of wide receiver screens. They need to allow this guy to use what got him into the league as a first-round pick, his speed. Let him run the 9 route. Let him run the deep post. Let him run the dig routes. Let him use his athleticism and speed to beat defenders. But right now, I think that Kendall Wright is going to be a very good receiver in this league. I think he's a double right now. And that's the Tennessee Titans' first-round picks over the last 13 seasons. It's been a smorgasbord of sorts for the Tennessee Titans. You get Chris Johnson in a home run. And then you get a guy like Vince Young who's a single. You get Keith Bullock and Michael Griffin who are triples. And then you get Andre Wolford who's a strikeout. Right now, you just don't know what you're getting from the Titans. I think they've done a better job of late of drafting. We still don't know what Jake Locker is going to be. We still don't know what Derek Morgan is. I think I know what Derek Morgan is, but I'm not sure. 6.5 sacks last season isn't that bad. He's getting better. Let's see if he can start to have the light come on. Maybe he can turn into a double-digit sack guy. We'll see, but you average all of those scores up for the Titans, and it's a single. So you look at the 10th overall selection, that's a single. You look at the Titans draft history over the last 13 years, that's a single. That's not good news for the Tennessee Titans at 10. Past history says you're supposed to draft a single at this position. Now, of course, I don't believe that. I don't feel like you're doomed to repeat the past. I just feel like you have to be very smart here if you're the Tennessee Titans. Yes, you want a guard. But what happens in the event that some things happen and neither one of the guards that you target are there at 10? What do? You need to be very smart here. Now, you have other needs on your team. But at 10, you need to get value. When you're picking in the top 10, it is important to get value. Maximize the pick. And so, if you don't get the guard at 10, you need to take a defensive end. That's where the value is at that pick. Now, you'll have the pick of the litter essentially from the defensive end department because there will be no defensive ends probably, most likely. Can't say that with 100% certainty, but most likely there will be no defensive ends off the board at that time. So, a guy like Ziggy Ansah to me, Ezekiel Ziggy Ansah out of BYU makes the most sense. Here's a Jason Pierre-Paul clone. Not the production of Jason Pierre-Paul in college, but he's got all the raw skills that's necessary to explode at the defensive end position. He's a big guy, solidly put together. We're talking about 270 pounds, 6'4", chiseled, looks like a Greek goddess, can run. Ziggy Ansah can bend at the hips. I like this guy a lot. And so if you can't get the guard, look, guard is first and foremost. Get the guard. If Cooper or Warmack is there, you take them. But if not, I say you go after a defensive end. It doesn't have to be Ziggy Ansah. It can be anyone you like it to be. It could be Barkevious Kiki Mingo. I really don't like him there at 10, but if you do, fine. Knock yourself out. It could be Bjorn Warner. Again, wouldn't select him at 10, but if you do, I'm fine with that. Just make sure you maximize the pick at 10. Don't allow this pick to be a single like history says it's supposed to be. Make this pick, at minimum, a double. You should want this pick to be a triple or a home run. That's what you should be aiming for. But much like batters who are confident in their stroke, you go up there confident and you go up there thinking, I just want to make solid contact. That's when the home runs happen. If you're the Titans, you just want to make the best pick possible at 10. Don't go up there thinking I got to hit a home run. That's when you strike out. Go up there and make the best, most logical, most sound pick possible at 10. And I think that's a guard or a defensive end for the Tennessee Titans. And that's going to do it for the Tennessee Titans in the draft game.
Mm-hmm.